What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about who's going to be the best player between the Golden State Warriors and the Toronto Raptors final series. So let's see what they have to say about that.
When it comes to shooters, snipers, defenses don't matter. Their attitude is, as long as you don't block my shot and I get it off, it's a wrap. And what I'm saying to you is that as great as we've seen Toronto play defense, when you're going against shooters, trust you me, whether they make or miss it, it ain't going to be because of the defense unless they block shots. You're either making or you're missing. But it ain't going to be because of another human being. It's going to be because your shot's off. That's the Golden State Warriors. And if Steph Curry, unless you're blocking shots, you got to remember, Van Vliet, Kyle Lowry, and these boys. I mean, if they're defending him, it ain't like it's 6'8" Kawhi. So I'm just telling you, it's one of them situations, man. This brother, if Steph Curry gets it on, and by the way, Max, he's never won Finals MVP, as you so eloquently reminded.
It's so funny. It's like all of a sudden now Stephen A. Smith realizes how good the Golden State Warriors are and how good Steph Curry is. All of a sudden now he's realizing it when he's forced to because they're in the finals and they look like the favored a team. When this whole time he was talking about they'd never make it past the Houston Rockets when they took care of them. Then all of a sudden now it's the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis and they're going to meet up and they're going to beat Golden State. But Toronto messed that all up. And now it's going to be Toronto and Golden State Warriors. And everything that Stephen A. Smith said about the shooters and them making it and Steph Curry, he should have been saying that the whole time. But he was showing no type of love to Steph Curry. Everybody else is the best player in the world or the best player ever. And Giannis, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, all these other, Damian Lillard, all these guys were the best players in the league right then. But you show no love to Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors when they're defending back-to-back champions. But now you want to talk about how good they are, how they're shooters, and how they're unstoppable because you're forced to, because they're in the finals and they're favored to win. Now you want to hype them up, Stephen A. Smith? So let's keep going, see what more they have to say.
All of us, he's never done it.
Don't step on the line I have prepared for you now that I've heard what you just said.
Go ahead.
You say there's a difference between
shooters
someone who
and
can
those who can shoot.
Right, shooters and someone who can shoot. There's also the difference between a Finals MVP and Steph Curry, who is playing in his 5th consecutive Finals.
That's right.
And has never won nor deserved a Finals MVP.
That's true.
Oh, boo-hoo, Max. Boo-hoo. What a terrible problem to have. So you've been to the finals, somewhat 5 times? This will be his 5th time? And he's won 3 out of those 5? And he has the nerve to never won the Finals MVP? I mean, what kind of trash player is Steph Curry that he can't get at least one Finals MVP when this will be his 5th time? He's only won 3 out of 5, but he can't win a Finals MVP? I mean, that guy must be trash. How dare he? How dare he? I mean, what kind of problems is that to have, though? What kind of problems is that to have, Max? I bet you LeBron James wish he had those kind of problems. So let's keep going.
Take it, and by the way, someone who can shoot and shooter, okay. A shooter and someone who can shoot, you think a shooter in Game 7, if they win this game, they're going to be called by many, if not most, the greatest team in the history of American team sports. They won more games than Michael Jordan's Bulls, 73 games in a season. At home, 4th quarter, 4 minutes and 22 seconds left. They didn't score a single point.
So is Max talking about what happened years ago? Is Max talking about the time that the Golden State Warriors lost in the finals years ago? Is that what Max is talking about? Because I'm pretty sure 2 years after that, the past 2 years, the Golden State Warriors have been back-to-back champs. The next year after they lost, they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 4-1. The next year, which would have been last year, they swept them 4-0. So they've gotten better. So I don't understand why Max is bringing up that when they lost, what was that, 4 years ago? I mean, 4 years, that's what you're bringing up, Max? You got nothing if that's all you can bring up. You've got nothing to say about the Golden State Warriors if all you can bring up is when the time that they lost in the finals years ago. I mean, that's almost, 3 or 4 years ago? That's almost someone's high school career. That's almost somebody's college career. So when somebody started, they were freshmen when they lost. And now you'd be a senior or junior. And all you really know is the Golden State Warriors winning back-to-back. So I don't understand why Max is going to bring up that time that lost in the finals years ago, and they're defending back-to-back champions, and they won the year before they lost. So I don't know. Let's keep going.
Spirit was compromised, Max. He was his spirit.
When you say spirit, you rubbed your heart.
He wasn't 100%.
When you say
Max.
spirit, you rubbed your heart.
I'm just, it's my spirit. The spirit comes. I mean, part of this comes from the heart.
When LeBron blocked his shot and screamed on him like he was his dad,
that's a good point.
You're saying his spirit
it's around my heart. Huh? It's around my.
I mean, you got to be kidding me, Max. You're talking about what happened years ago. You're talking about when Golden State Warriors lost in the finals years ago. Was that 4 years ago? And since then, they've done nothing but win. I mean, you got nothing. You got nothing to say about the Golden State Warriors. Is if all you could talk about is the time that they lost in the finals for the second go-around. And then 2 years after that, they've done nothing but win. You got nothing to say about them. Nothing. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. The hate, it's just getting stupid right now. It just looks stupid. But hey, let's keep going.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay.
But are you saying? Are you about to engage in blasphemy? Are you saying that Steph Curry was scared? Is that what you're saying?
Bring it back to Wu-Tang Clan. Bring the ruckus. Scream on you like your dad. Bring it on.
Are you saying that Steph Curry was scared?
Let me explain something to you, Stephen A. I want to take you through the finals one at a time. Because they won their first finals before KD got there.
Yep.
But Kyrie and Kevin Love were hurt.
That's true. That's true.
The second best player on the Cavs was Della Vedova, and it still went 6 games.
Okay.
They'd have lost if the Cavs
They didn't know how to win at that time. They were learning.
Then the next season, they lost. No finals MVP. Clearly, Steph continually got worse under pressure.
He's not
Then they got KD, and they won twice. KD got the MVP both times. So you're going to compare that to Kawhi Leonard, who just, by the way, he's already won finals MVP.
So wait a minute, Max. Let's go back there. So you're really complaining about these guys when they're coming up on their 5th time going to the finals and they've won 3? You want to talk about the first time that they played the Cleveland Cavaliers? So they won. Okay, I'll give it to you that LeBron James, he didn't have his full squad. Okay, if you want to use that type of logic, then the next year when Golden State Warriors lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers, well, Golden State wasn't firing on all cylinders. Steph Curry was hurt, was working with injury. Plus, he wasn't playing as well as he normally did, which his playing not as good as he normally does would be everybody else is good. Also, Iguodala was hurt. Bogut was hurt. I think he wasn't playing. The stimulus package with Draymond Green and LeBron James crying to the commissioner and got Draymond suspended over something LeBron James started. He didn't want any more of that lockdown defense from Draymond Green and especially Iguodala. That's what Iguodala won Finals MVP the year before that because he locked down LeBron James. So I'll give you that. We could be tied up right there. Each year, each team wasn't running on full cylinders. But what happened to the next 2 years after that? Because the next years after that, they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 4-1. And then that next year, which would have been last year, they swept them 4-0. So, I mean, you can say what you want. Oh, well, Steph, he didn't get Finals MVP. I mean, what a problem to have. What a problem to have. So you've won 3 championships out of 4. You're working on a 3-peat, but you can't win a Finals MVP? Oh, what a problem to have. I bet you LeBron James wish he had those type of problems. I bet you wish he had those type of problems. Because as it looks now, all the top, pretty much the top runners in the NBA right now, they have as many rings and working on more rings than LeBron James. Because Kevin Durant might be getting his 3rd ring. That's tied up with LeBron James. Steph Curry, Clay, Draymond, they're all going to be working on his 4th rings. So they're going to pass up LeBron James. So I would rather have 4 rings than whatever accolades, whatever LeBron James has had, whether he's been Finals MVP or whatever. I'd rather take those 4 rings. You think Steph Curry is losing any type of sleep because you want to mess with him about not winning Finals MVP? You think he cares about that? Man, let's keep going.
Because his team beat LeBron. And why did they beat LeBron?
He averaged like 14 for crying out loud. He just played exceptional defense and scored over 20 the last 3 games.
You know what I love? Everyone pays lip service to defense wins championships and how important it is, and no one except for me apparently believes it. It's equally as important as offense. It's half the game, and Kawhi is elite on both sides. He will be the best player of the season. Now, Steph may win his first series MVP, his first finals MVP, because he'll be the best player, maybe. I mean, Draymond was better than him when they won 73 games in the finals, but he might be the best player. He was better than him in the
Game 7, yes.
The best player on the team that wins. And they always give it to that guy. Like, even when Kawhi won it, LeBron was the MVP when they gave it to Iguodala. Like, you know, but they're going to give it to Steph if the Golden State wins and they can make a case for Steph. That's not going to make him the best on the floor. Kawhi Leonard will be. Kawhi Leonard.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense, man. The hate is real. The hate is real. So no matter, so what could Steph Curry do that would make Max respect him a little bit? Because he's working on a 3P right now. He's working on getting his 4th ring right now. It doesn't look like they're going to lose. But here comes Kawhi, who hasn't been to the finals in years. And when he got finals MVP, won it. That was years ago. And he was only putting up 14 points, like what Stephen A. said. And I don't want to take anything away from Kawhi Leonard, but how many times do you have to get beat by the Golden State Warriors? And how many times do you have to show you that they're a real dynasty before you start looking at them and giving some type of respect? I mean, even still, up to this point, Max is giving Steph Curry absolutely zero respect, especially Kawhi. I mean, I'm cool with Kawhi. Kawhi's a ball and all that, but how could you praise him or go with him and think they're going to win when they've shown no reason that they can beat the Golden State Warriors? Nobody has. Nobody has. Kawhi's a baller, but it's been a while since he's been to the finals. Steph Curry's been there back-to-back years. So whatever, let's keep going.
Will clearly and by far be the best player on the floor in this series.
What I'm saying to you is this. If Steph Curry goes ballistic in the finals, the way that he went ballistic against Portland, for example, or in Game 5, in the fourth quarter, Game 5, and the second half of Game 6. If that Steph Curry shows up in the NBA Finals, then obviously he will have been the best player in the NBA Finals. That doesn't make him better than Kawhi Leonard. It doesn't make him a better all-around player than Kawhi. I'm just talking about specifically for the purposes of this series. If he played like that and Kawhi doesn't, then Steph Curry would be the best player in the Finals.
Let's not say one.
But see, what it boils down to is if you win it. If you win it. I mean, who cares what happens? I don't care if Steph Curry doesn't score a point throughout the whole series. If they pull it off and they're still able to win, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. What you guys are talking about is icing on the cake. You're talking about icing on the cake. I mean, that's such a terrible problem to have. That, oh, well, you can't get Finals MVP, but you can win all these championships all over the place. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Who cares? As long if they Golden State Warriors win and Steph Curry's not Finals MVP, I don't think he's going to be losing too much sleep about it. And in 20 years, people are still going to praise Steph Curry. So let's keep going.
Guys off, one guy's on. Let's say they're both on. Steph plays like he just did against Portland. Kawhi plays like he just did against Milwaukee. Who's better?
Well, let me say this. Which game? Do I get the series or are you giving me a game?
Series.
Because I got news for you. I think that Kawhi was much better in Game 6 than he was in Game 5 than he was in Game 6.
Series,
Kawhi Leonard, obviously you get both ends of the floor. He's the more complete player. But
right.
So it's going to play out like it's been playing out these past years with the Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron James, and Golden State Warriors, okay? So I don't think they're going to face anybody that's any more better than LeBron James, okay? They've seen the worst pretty much of what they're going to see that's out there right now. Kawhi Leonard is a baller. He's going to do his thing. But Golden State Warriors have been dealing with LeBron James for the past 5 years or the past 4 years. So I don't think Kawhi is going to be any more of a nuisance than what LeBron James would be. And they swept him last year. So I just can't see. The Golden State Warriors are not seeing anything new. And I said that when the whole hoopla was about the Milwaukee Bucks coming up and the series is over after one game between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Toronto Raptors. You remember that? You remember that, Stephen A. Smith? They were talking about Giannis is going to be the man. They're going to be able to knock off the Golden State Warriors. And I was saying, Golden State Warriors, I don't think Giannis is better than LeBron James. He's not. I just don't see that. I don't think that he is. And the Golden State Warriors swept him last year. So what do you think they do to Giannis? Giannis didn't make it because Toronto ruined that. So now it's Kawhi and company. I don't think Kawhi is even if maybe a little bit better than LeBron James right now. That's for another video. But like I said, the principle is still the same. The Golden State Warriors are not going to see anything better than what they've seen with LeBron James, and he's beat them up the past couple years. So I can't see that would be any different with the Toronto Raptors and Kawhi Leonard. They'll play him just the same. So let's keep going.
That's what I'm saying.
But let me say this to you. I believe that Kawhi Leonard could play every bit as good in the finals. And if Steph Curry explodes, it don't matter. It don't matter. Steph Curry will have a greater impact towards victory. Steph Curry get rolling. It's a wrap.
It might be a wrap, definitely. But you know who everybody's sleeping on? Just like you've been doing the Golden State Warriors all together pretty much, especially since Kevin Durant's been gone. Klay Thompson. Again, you guys are overlooking Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is pissed right now. He can't make an all-team. He can't make an all-team, all-NBA. You better watch out for Klay Thompson. You better be worried about Klay Thompson. He might be shooting for getting Finals MVP. What better way to show the world that he should have been at least picked for a third-team all-NBA? That man, if he gets Finals MVP, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what they're gonna say on Monday if it turns out that Klay Thompson busts them cakes for Toronto and he messes around and gets Finals MVP. Klay Thompson. That's who you should really be worried about. You talking about that silent assassin? He's up there sharpening his knives right now, packing up extra ammo because he's going to be ready to go to war with the Toronto Raptors, not only to beat them, but to show the world that he should have at least been picked on the third team All-NBA. But they screwed him over. You need to worry about Klay Thompson. You need to worry about Klay. And I'll say it here right now. So let's keep going.
No.
Max, I go this far. Kawhi Leonard could play the same way he's played. If Steph Curry plays the way we saw him play against Portland, Toronto might get swept.
No, and I'll tell you.
So I don't know about saying swept right now because as you definitely can't take what Stephen A. says for when he talks about swept, because apparently there was the Milwaukee Bucks are supposed to sweep the Toronto Raptors. So you don't want to go with that. That would be stupid to make judgment off of one game anyways. But as far as that, I just can't see. I forgot what I was going to say. So let's keep going.
Why?
How about that one?
Here's the argument that I would accept from you, and if you're making this argument, it doesn't say Steph's better than Kawhi in the series.
Okay.
Here's the argument. Steph got Draymond Green, who's a perennial all-star, and when it matters most is a superstar. Draymond Green, I thought, was better than Steph in this last Portland series, but certainly one of the two best players on the team. He's an MVP caliber player when it matters most. And Klay Thompson is an all-star, one of the best shooters ever. So who's like that on Toronto?
What you trying to say about Steph and Kawhi, though?
I'm saying, who is like that on Toronto for Kawhi? So if Steph goes off, it's on top of the contributions of those type of players.
Okay, that's fine, Max, but...
And that's exactly why you shouldn't vote against them to win. Why would you bet against those guys when you know the type of shooters that Golden State Warriors have? But you still want to go with Kawhi because Kawhi is going to get his. I'm not even going to front. Kawhi is a baller. He's going to get his. He's going to do his thing. But is Kyle Lowry going to show up? Because I'm pretty sure a month and a half ago, Kyle Lowry put up a goose egg in game 1 of the playoffs. He put up a goose egg. 0 points. 0 points. And you're a professional. In the playoffs, you put up 0 points? Because I'm pretty sure I can get the best D3 college basketball player to come up and get at least 1 point. At least 1 point. And Kyle Lowry puts up a goose egg. So you can't really trust Kyle Lowry. He's wishy-washy. And Pascal Siakam, he's been balling too. But does he have enough to maintain and outshoot the Golden State Warriors 4 out of 7 times? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that the Golden State Warriors, Klay, Draymond, Curry, I'm pretty sure those guys can maintain it and shoot the lights out of Toronto Raptors. So let's keep going.
But what I'm saying is we knew that when the question was asked about who could potentially be the best player in this series. Right. So all I'm saying to you is this. If Kawhi played every bit as good as you say that he's played, and we all know he's played in the playoffs, but if he plays every bit as good as you believe, I am telling you, if Steph does too, Steph's impact will be far greater.
No, I don't think you're really making...
That's not necessarily the point, though. That's not really the point, because Steph's probably going to do his thing, but like you said before, his supporting cast is excellent. Don't sleep on Klay Thompson. Don't sleep on Klay Thompson, because pretty much if Steph Curry had a regular game, which would be a great game for everybody else, and Klay steps it up or Draymond steps it up and they have a good game, that's going to override whatever else the Toronto Raptors have. That's going to override what they have. So don't just talk about Steph Curry having a good game, because if he does have a good game, it's not going to look good. Plus, his supporting cast. You can't necessarily say that for the Toronto Raptors. So let's keep going.
That argument. You're making the argument that Steph's teammates are better than Kawhi's, and therefore Steph puts them over the top.
No, Max. No, Max. I'm making the argument that you've made on many, many occasions in the past, that Steph Curry is a galvanizing force